Welcome to the first volume of Genuinely Disturbing Things, a show where I intend to bring the hidden gems of horror from across the internet and compile them here on this channel for your viewing pleasure, as to not waste any more of your time. Without further ado, on February 22nd, 2014, Twain Thomas began a violent rampage in an apartment building in Pocatello, Idaho. Wielding a machete, he approached the door of James Savengros. From here, it gets pretty disturbing. And watch for yourself just what happens.
Oh my god. Hey, wait. Do not let him in.
Hey, you off! You off, Twain! I gotta get from. Calm down! Calm down! Stay down, Twain! Stay down! Oh my god! Oh god! Oh god! Stay down! Stay down! Stay down, Twain! I don't want to do that! No, don't move! Don't move! I already called him! Why did you do that? That machete in his hand!
As you can see, it's a pretty intense situation to be in. James, in this situation, is lucky to have had a gun on him at the time. Otherwise, it's disturbing to imagine the kind of deaths Twain had in mind for them. I cut out the rest of the video, but it is available if you'd like to watch the full thing. Link is in the description. In the end, Twain Thomas survives, and is sentenced to at least 10 years in prison. This next entry has no accompanying media, and is rather a Reddit post that came across. It details an event which I can imagine would be a nightmare for any parent to go through. I will read the post now, as it is written. Okay, for obvious reasons, this is a throwaway account, so I'm not even sure how to start here. The last couple of weeks my dog, a 7-year-old lab, has been acting noticeably different. I guess I could describe it as distant and even depressed. He is normally an extremely outgoing and happy dog, very playful and energetic, etc. But starting about 2 weeks ago, he started acting very withdrawn and nervous around people, even his own family. At first I kind of brushed it off as feeling under the weather, but after about a week and a half I decided maybe he needed to see a vet. I got him in yesterday, and after an examination the vet told me that he believes the dog has been sodomized. His anus had slight damage in a way that was consistent with that sort of thing. He said he can't really imagine that his injuries could have come about in any other way. So already now, I'm pretty upset and sort of freaking out. Who would do this sort of thing to a dog? I thought about all the people that had access to my dog and my backyard. Gardeners crossed my mind, my neighbors, etc. The only people that live in the house are my wife, myself, and our teenage son. I came home and thought about it for a while. I had this really ugly, stinking feeling in my stomach about the possibility that it could have been my son. I decided to look around his room. I didn't really know what I was expecting to find, and I didn't really find anything in there that screamed guilty until I decided to check his browser history. I found he had been on a bestiality forum recently and a site with pictures of that sort of thing. I felt like I was going to throw up. Now I know this isn't definitive proof of anything, but it sure doesn't look good. The more I think about it, the more I am convinced my son has been sodomizing our dog. I haven't told my wife yet or done anything about it. I have not left him alone with the dog since. I'm totally confused and upset, and I really don't know how to proceed with this. Reddit, please, please help. Already a disturbing post, but that's not the end of it. Edit. Thank you for all your advice to those of you who are serious. I understand this seems like a joke to some of you, but it's not to me. So for those of you that gave real advice, thank you. I think I'm going to take your advice and confront him about it privately, without involving my wife. It's not going to be an easy conversation, but it has to happen. My only worry is the possibility that he isn't guilty of this, and somebody else did it. I guess then we still need to talk about what I found on his computer anyways. Ugh. FML. Thank you for being there for me, Reddit. Edit 2. Okay, my son just got home. I'm going to have the conversation with him when I can get a moment alone, and I will come back and let you guys know what happened. Edit 3. Okay, just spoke to my son. Before I get into our talk, let me quickly say thank you all again for your incredible advice and support. There were a lot of really helpful suggestions in here, and I took some of your advice. Anyway, our family had a dinner and did our usual nighttime stuff. My wife and I watched TV. Son was in his room after dinner, like all teenagers are, and dog, obviously, was with me. I waited for my wife to go to bed, which felt like forever because I was so nervous, but she finally did about an hour ago, and I went into my son's room to have the talk. I basically said, listen, I noticed the dog has been acting weird, and I took him to the vet, and I found out someone has sodomized him. Any ideas what might have happened? I looked at my son, and he seemed ever so slightly nervous, but pretended to know nothing about it. I expected this, so I brought up the sites I found on his computer. Naturally, this made him pretty upset, and he got really indignant at the thought that I snooped around on his computer. Fair enough, I get it. But I got him back to the point and tried to be as understanding and fatherly as I could, and just told him that whatever happened, I'm not going to judge him, and he's not going to be punished, and I just need to know the truth. After about 10 to 15 minutes of this, he finally breaks down and admits that he put the handle of a hairbrush as well as fingers into the dog a few times during a day last week. He said he wasn't trying to hurt him, and he stopped when the dog at one point freaked out. He said he didn't think he hurt it that bad, and he was too embarrassed to tell us or do anything about it. I believed him in this, but he also didn't give a very satisfactory answer as to why exactly he would do this in the first place. I have to admit, either way, I was glad on some level to hear that he wasn't actually having sex with the dog. He then goes on to tell us that he is getting a therapist for his son, and that while his dog is not quite the same, he is making efforts to bring back its happiness. However, while the story ends there, it is interesting to consider if the son really did tell the truth. As other Redditors commented, it is possible the hairbrush explanation was just an excuse for what really happened. Or, if it was the truth, perhaps he was just testing to see how the dog would react before going towards more extremes. This 911 call out of Kitsap Peninsula in Washington doesn't have much context to it. However, it is entirely real. The caller tries to describe a person or creature, but you can hear genuine confusion and fear in his voice.
911, what are you reporting?
We got someone or something crawling around out here.
Did you see what it was? Was it a person or an animal or?
I can't tell. All I know is that my central light came on and I just happened to glimpse and see this thing running across the yard. A good-sized man or something. It looks like a man. I don't know what it was, just that it ran across the yard.
Okay. You've had problems in the neighborhood before?
Yeah, my dog was killed here just recently. I don't know what it was. Whatever it is, it's running. I couldn't catch it if I was going to chase it, but whatever it was standing up. I'm out here looking through the window now and I don't see anything. I don't want to go outside. Jesus Christ, you better...
Sir?
Dio!
Hello?
Get somebody out here.
What's going on now, sir?
That son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
Do you see him now, sir?
Yes, I'm looking right at him.
Uh-oh. Okay, hang on.
He's right...
Is he in your yard, sir?
Yeah, God, he's big.
Okay, what's he doing in your yard?
He's looking at me.
Oh, and the guy is on foot.
I don't know what... It's a big... real big person. That's all I can say.
Okay, but it is a person.
Yeah, I'd say it was a person, somebody really big. But he's all in black. He's
Is he a black male or a white male? Did you actually see whether, or was he just wearing black?
He's all black and he's big. He is big.
According to the description, by the time the police arrived, whatever was there was gone. So we'll never know for sure what he saw, but it certainly is intriguing. This final entry is a video uploaded by R. Paul Gordon. In it, we see him filming his neighbor doing, well, I'm not quite sure. Have a look for yourself.
Hey, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing?
God damn.
What are you doing?
None of your fucking business.
Why are you reaching under my fence?
What are you talking about?
You're reaching your hand under the fence?
I'm taking the fucking dirt out of the fucking fence. You mine? It's my side of the fence, okay?
No, it's not. You're
Get
reaching under my...
lost.
Hey, you know what?
Get lost. Stop talking to me.
Hey, you know what?
Stop talking to me.
You're not-
Stop talking
you're
to me.
not supposed to
Stop
be on my
talking to me.
property.
Stop talking to me. I'm not on your property. Obviously on my mom.
You're reaching under my fence.
I'm doing what I need to do. It's none of your fucking business what I'm doing.
You know what? I told you before, if you come on my side of the
You never
property,
told me nothing. Get
I'm
the
gonna
fuck
call.
away from me.
I'm gonna call the cops.
Fucking
And
get the fuck away from me.
guess what? I'm gonna call the
Get,
cops.
get away from me. Get away from me.
You stay
Get away
over-
from me.
you
Get
stay
away
over
from me.
there.
Get away from me. Get away from me. I'm tired of you fucking molesting me. Tired of you fucking accosting me.
Oh, really?
Tired of you. Yeah, you're fucking always on me. Leave me alone. You're always watching what I'm doing. You're fucking a pervert.
You're on my
I swear
side
to
of
God,
the fence.
no, I'm on my side. Get the fuck away from me. Stop talking to me.
You're being creepy over here, so stop
Stop
it.
fucking talking to me. And do what I fucking want. I'm not fucking alive.
It certainly is an unsettling encounter. I'm surprised with how well he kept his cool, given the strangeness of the whole situation. It's crazy to think that this is just a snippet we get to see. Imagine actually being neighbors with this person in the video. I truly do wonder what she was attempting to do there under the fence. Regardless, I hope at least one of these entries disturbed you. If not, subscribe, and maybe something in Volume 2 will get to you. And lastly, thank you for watching. My name is Kopric. Goodbye.